People's Democratic Party in that election. A lot has happened. The election took over a month to conclude, and on the outcome of the election, it seems like you're not happy. You're not happy. Your party faithful are not happy about the outcome of the election. However, declaring the results, the returning officer Gomala said that the collation of and resumption of results by the electoral umpire followed the non-completion of collation of results in 9 polling units. And after carefully investigating, the electoral body gave directives that results should be collated alongside the April 15 supplementary elections. Now, according to the returning officer, Diket Plang of the All Progressives Congress scored 131,129 votes to defeat yourself of the People's Democratic Party, with who's polled 127,023 votes to emerge winner of that election. Now, you seem to be not so satisfied with the outcome of the election. On what basis do you disagree with INEC and the declaration of Honorable Plang as the winner of that election?
Good morning, Nigerians. I want to say a big thank you for having the opportunity to discuss practical and real issues that concerns the National Assembly elections, most especially that of the Plateau Central. To me, as a whole, as an accountant who believe in figures and know fully well that figures don't lie, when you add 1 plus 1, you should arrive at 2. And where someone is writing 15, and there's a total concern for those issues. I, in my own capacity, and I think in the thinking of all the party faithfuls of People's Democratic Party, and even some of the APC members, are not satisfied with the position that took place. The so-called presentation or the result that you just called, it is not even a result, because as far as I'm concerned, that result is baseless because it does not hold substance.
How so?
Because we went to Pangshin to see that elections should be collated on a transparent basis. Have you seen an election where it took 3 days to collate just a senatorial election result? Why was the state governor's election declared within a day? And the entire 3 days was taken by INEC to collate these results, and there was no conclusion on this particular position. So who, if anybody sits somewhere to say that the cat has won with number of votes, it's unthinkable that INEC would come to announce this fictitious result. Let me tell you what happened. This election took place on the 25th of February 2023. Why would INEC wait for 9 solid weeks to return back with another returning officer when the professor who ought to have been the original returning officer declined to that because they compelled him to go and announce a result he do not agree with them? And they now reappointed someone on a Friday of 14. Within 12 hours, he was directed to come and declare results of a particular federal ward called Gagdi. Gagdi is a federal ward among the 9 federal wards that my agent petitioned that there were mutilations of results and overvoting. At the process of collation, 3 days after February 25th, we were to sit down and analyze these results, and there were discrepancies. Section 64 sub 7 stipulates that where there are errors, discrepancies, the collation officer has the capacity to recollate and produce a new result. There were issues that we did not agree totally with them, and he stopped at that. Only for him to return 2 days later, the position was still not clear, and they waited for 9 weeks for someone to come from the blues. As far as Dr. Jimam Lar is concerned, that's the so-called new returning officer, we don't know who is Dr. Jimam Lar. He is a member of the APC, a card-carrying member of the APC, and he cannot be a judge in his own case. So what we are saying, let INEC tells the world, why did Professor Daniel Darby resign his position for this particular election? And why would they call for a verification or a review? The definition of a review or verification is that you sit back and collate all the results and see where there are areas of discrepancies, and after your reconciliation, you produce a new result. I'm afraid that INEC is giving a very wrong signal to Nigerians. The federal government of Nigeria gave a body called Independent National Electoral Commission to be a referee in this election. Why would INEC be the one to see an offside goal in the match and they begin to celebrate the event in favor of the APC? Is it because APC is in government? Or is it because maybe the widows, the orphans of Plateau Central don't have voices to speak for them? I've heard a lot of governors who in 30 days will be moving out of office, coming to Abuja to say, after all, we didn't win any of the senatorial seat on the Plateau. Let's go and just take that of Plateau Central. And behold, the sitting governor of Plateau State contested for the senatorial seat in the southern zone and he lost election. Why would some of them be interested in the election of the central zone? As far as I'm concerned, I demand for justice, equity, and fairness, because my blueprint was what gave me the mandate to score with a very huge winning vote. Don't forget, in the 4 first local government, that is Bokos, Mangu, Pangshin, and Kanam, I won with a huge margin of 21,717 votes, only for us to wait for Kanam result to come up. They waited after 3 days to discover the margin of winning, and they just cooked fictitious result. But let me tell you, in every election, most especially where beavers are applied, you should know that there are total registered voters, PVC collected, and those who pass through the beavers. We will only accommodate that. If we go further than that, we will also want to discover what were the fiscal ballot papers cast in that particular vote. So if anybody's going to try a game and whatever, I just believe in the judiciary. But funny enough, let me give a story that will shock you in the Nigerian nation. Okay. 2 months later, that's 9 weeks later, they returned back to Plateau Central without telling us that they've appointed a new returning officer, even though we do not have the capacity to appoint any new returning officer for them. But at least we're at liberty for them to tell us what has happened and what are the guidelines that the new man is going to take charge. Only for them to come and say that he was directed with a huge security presence, blocking all our agents from asking questions. Questions they had want to ask was, who is Dr. Jimam Lar? Where are you coming from? You don't have the history of this particular election, and you're coming to declare election that you don't have history about it. If you want to declare, let's sit down on common ground and discuss about issues. Section 149 of the Electoral Act stipulates that where a commission officer has taken a decision, either in error or whatsoever, no one has the capacity to unveil or reclaim those council votes except a competent court of law or a tribunal. It's written in black and white. Why would INEC go against an electoral act that was the guidelines for the conduct of this election? So if I don't have anybody in the whole of this world, I think God is seated to see all, but the federal government of Nigeria and INEC, I believe that the big shots in INEC are not aware of what transpired. I think some people went through the back door to create this result, but I call for a total cancellation or a total stoppage of the issuance of this particular certificate to the Caterpillar. Even though I heard he has been issued certificate, but inauguration should be stopped until those issues are verified. As far as the central zone people are concerned, go down to Plateau, find out the feelers of what happened in the central zone. Nobody is celebrating him because he is not the true winner. The so-called result you just presented, 131 and 130, it is not the real result in question. Let INEC come and produce the actual result, because there were issues of mutilations and overvoting in 9 federal wards. And we've discovered even 13 federal wards. And we are asking for the total review of those particular zones.
Did you raise...
No one has answered us. All the letters written by the People's Democratic Party to the headquarters, they have not replied even one of those letters. So If INEC, if federal government of Nigeria give you the opportunity to sit down and usher in justice to Nigerians, you think you have the capacity to just sit down and cook results and announce results? This shouldn't happen in a civilized country.
Now, what would be the next line of action for you? Because we've heard that people who are, not satisfied with the outcome of elections should go to court. At the presidential level, that's what has happened.
That is the story I would not always want to hear. In Nigeria, when they usher in injustice to you, they say, go to court, go to court. What are you teaching Nigerians? Are you telling us that we should carry arms and stop INEC if they want to conduct election? What are we teaching to the younger ones in Nigeria? As a young person and as a politician who has come contested with former speakers, at the end of the day, all the entire former speakers have come to celebrate with Ambassador Jiwa Gotom, and we went on campaigning left, right, and center. And imagine someone did not go for campaign even for one day, because he knew very well that in the tradition of the Central Zone, Kanam will never ever bring their result until they discover the winning votes of the full local government, only for them to bring some votes. If there are 99% good people of Kanam, that 1% who will always cook results and give them a bad name, we will go down to the board and fish out all those issues. For the sake of the widows, the less privileged, the orphans of Central Zone, I will definitely have to go to court. If they still insist that the story is, if you are not satisfied, go to court. If you are not satisfied, go to court. What are we telling Nigerians? And I want to tell the young people of Nigeria that we should be able to sit up, because when the big shots are on top of the board, they always feel that they have it all. I want to say that in this case, even if God is the only person standing with me, I'm the majority. After all, the massive votes that we obtain as a party has actually given me the hope to stand and defend democracy in Nigeria.
It's quite interesting because you just mentioned that you had written letters to INEC and no response has come out from.
Not just by the letters, sir. We've
letters.
written 5 solid letters to INEC. The first letter my agent wrote was the one that said they do not have the capacity, so at the state level, so we should forward to Abuja. Another letter was written. The People's Democratic Party, chaired by Honorable Chris Hassan, has written a letter, and the letter got to Abuja. And when we discovered the letter has no effect, another letter was written to the headquarters of the People's Democratic Party. And we insisted that the legal advisor of the party should take the letter deep down to INEC headquarters. As at this moment, sir, no letter has been replied. And all these letters were forwarded before the April 15 verification exercise they talk about. Go and find out. Ask the police on the Plateau. We have video clips of what transpired. So if anybody felt that he's trying to play games, by the time we meet in the court, that they say meet in court, meet in court. If other judicial officers gang up with INEC and say, let's drive the position of Decade Plan, then I want to say that we don't have a Nigerian nation that the younger ones should be proud of. I demand for total justice, equity, and fairness in this.
Do you believe that if there is maybe a fresh election conducted in Plateau Central, you are going to win that election?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir. Go and test the feelers. He never went for campaign because he knew very well he can't just contest with Ambassador Jiwa Gotom. Central Zone is concerned for you. How would I have gotten votes from Bokos? He won in Mangu with a very slight figure. Between Bokos and Mangu, I have a total winning vote. In Pangshin alone, that is my local government. And that's the local government that Decade also claim. I won him with 14,700. The figures are there. The facts and figures are there. If in his own domain, I beat him with 14,700 votes. 14,700, do you think it's a joke?